Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Code with Surya Official. Today we are diving into an exciting Pokemon World project using React.js. You will see these awesome Pokemon cards. If we hover this card, then you can see this beautiful hover effect. Below this card we have a beautiful load more button. If we click it, it will load more Pokemons. At the top we have a sleek search box. For example, if we search for Pikachu, then you can see the Pikachu card will show up. If we remove the letter from the text box, then you will see again it will fill up with list of Pokemon card. So this is the awesome project that we are going to build today. So if you are new to this channel, then please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you are ready, then let's get started. Now I am in the Visual Studio Code Editor. I have already created a folder named is React Pokemon. Inside this folder, we need to create our React project. For that, I need to write npx create React app space dot and press enter. So it will create the React project inside this React Pokemon folder. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. Now our project is ready. To run this project, we need to write npm start, press enter. So this is our React interface. Now I need to close this terminal. In our project, inside this src folder, we have this app.js file. Okay, so first we need to rename the file extension that js to jsx, and after that we have to remove this header section. Save it and now check it. This page is blank. Okay, so now we have to create our component. For that, first we need to create the header component, header.jsx rfc, so it will generate this boilerplate. Okay, so here we have to import it from this app.jsx. Save it and check it. Now you can see the header is coming here. Let me zoom it. You can see the header is coming. Okay, so go to this header.jsx and now start writing our HTML structure. So instead of this div, we have to write header and the class name is header. And inside this header, we have a h1 tag, and inside this h1 tag, we have to write Pokemon World. Okay, now we need to create a CSS file for this header.jsx, and the CSS file name is header.css. First import from this header component, import dot slash header.css. Now start writing the CSS for this header component. So we have to target this header class. So for that, dot header background color is as f72585, padding 20 pixel, border bottom 2 pixel, solid has 0e0e0. Okay, save it and check it. So you can see this is our header section. So this is very big. We need to style for this height. So for that, again we have to target this dot header h1. Inside this h1, margin is 0, font size is 0.5 rem, color is white color, text align is center, text shadow 1 pixel and 2 pixel, RGBA 0,0,0,0.1, 0.2. Now you can see this looks fine. Let me zoom out. Okay, so this looks good. And instead of this 2.5, need to change to 4.5. Okay, so this space is there. Okay, I think this looks very big. Need to change to 3.5 rem. Okay, now this looks fine. Now we have to display our Pokemon list in this area below this navbar. Okay, so for that we have to create a component, name it Pokemon list.jsx. Inside I have to write rfce, so it will generate this boilerplate. Close this header.jsx and header.css. Now go to this app.jsx And inside this app.jsx, below this header, we have to import this Pokemon list. So now I am in the Pokemon list component, and you can see here the Pokemon list data also render in the browser. So now the first step is we need to check our API. So for that we have to go to this next step and paste this API. Okay, so you can see browser. So you can see if I click this pretty print, then you can see easily. So you can see here the count is 1302 record is there. So inside that we have this result, we have this URL, everything. So the data will be, you can see the data. Okay, so now we need to get this data to our project. For that we need to use effect. By the help of this use effect hook, we need to call the API. Okay, so before that we have to create a API URL. So for that I need to write const API URL. Inside this I have to paste this API URL, and you can see here we have this question mark limit equal to 800. We need to remove this one for now. So come to this use effect. Inside that we need to call a function, and the function is fetch Pokemon function. Okay, so now we have to create this function here in the top, const fetch Pokemon, and this is an arrow function, and inside this arrow function we need to create our try catch block. Try, after that try we have a catch block. Okay, and in the last we have a finally block. Okay, so let's write our API call function. For that, in the JavaScript we have a fetch function, and this fetch function is calling the API. So inside this function we need to pass API URL. So now you can see here await is showing error just because of our function is not a async function. For that we need to write async. Okay, now this function is a async function. So after fetching the data from this server, we need to store it, the response, inside a response variable. So now the data is coming from the server and stored it inside this response. Okay, so now we need to convert this response into JSON. So again this is a promise, so we need to write await here, and again we need to store it inside a variable, data variable. Okay, now we will check which type of data is coming here. For that I need to write console log data and check it in the browser. You can see we have this undefined. I think we need to pass it this limit here. As for now we just pass this limit to 100. Save it and reload this window. You can see the data is coming here. Okay, so the data is coming here. You can see this next. Inside this next we have this API URL. After calling this API we are getting the response. Inside this response we have a result key is there. Okay, inside this result we have another URL. So we need to call this URL. For that I have to write data.results.map. Inside that I have a pokey. We have to call our fetch. You can see here in this fetch what we have to pass. We have to pass this pokey.url. You can see we have inside this result we have this URL. So we need to call this particular URL. Okay, so if I copy and paste it in the browser, then you can see we have this data. Okay, if I click this pretty print, then you can see inside this ability we have this all data is there. Okay, so we have to get this data. For that I have to write pokey.url. So this is a promise, so I have to write dot then, and inside this then we have to write response and response.json. We need to convert it here. We will get the data, Pokemon data here. So what I have to write? I have to write Pokemon data. So whatever data is coming from this response, it will store inside this Pokemon data. Okay, again I have to check it which type of data is coming here. So I need to console.log and check it here. you can see if I reload this window, you can see we are getting the promise. You can see everywhere it is writing promise, promise, promise. Okay, so it is returning the promise. Okay, so how we are getting the response from this promise? For that, we have in the JavaScript we have a promise.all. Okay, so we have to write promise.all, and inside this function we need to pass this Pokemon data. We need to create a variable here, all Pokemon data. Whatever promise is coming after fulfill, this data is storing inside this all Pokemon data. Okay, now you can see if I console log here, so before that I need to write await. Okay, so because it is a promise, so now I have to check this all Pokemon data, whether the data is coming or not. Okay, you can see previously it is promises is coming. Now if I reload this window, boom, the data is coming here. You can see all the data is coming here. Okay, so great. So now we have to store inside a state. For that I need to create a state here, const, and the state name is Pokemon, commands set Pokemon, use state, and it is an array type. Okay, so now we need to set the state. So for that I have to write set Pokemon inside this previous state, and here it is an array, so that I need to write dot 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 previous state, comma dot 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 all Pokemon's data. You can see in the try block, if any problem is coming, so in the catch block it will catch the error and throw it inside this catch block. For that we need to write console.error. Here we have to write error.message. What is coming inside this state? We need to console log it here, console.log, and Pokemon list. If I save it and reload this window, you can see we have this Pokemon list. So inside this Pokemon state we have this all data is there. You can see here we have this all data. Okay, so inside this you can see the data is coming here. Okay, now we have to loop it and show it the Pokemon list. Okay, so for that we have to write our structure. Okay, so the first one is we have to create a div and the class name is box. Okay, inside this box we have another div and the class name is Pokemon list. We need to write this curly bracket. Inside this curly bracket we need to write Pokemon dot map, and inside this we have to write poke and underscore idx. So inside that we need to display our Pokemon. So for that we need to create a Pokemon card component, Pokemon card.jsx. Okay, so now I have to write rfc press enter, so it will generate this boilerplate. Inside this map method we need to call it from here Pokemon card. Okay, so here I have to pass this key first. Okay, so the key is underscore idx and the Pokemon name is poke.name, and the image is, I'll show you which one I have to pass it here. You can see we have this poke. Inside this you can see we have this name, so I just pass this name as a poke.name, and we have an image. You can see here we have a spirits. You can see here we have the spirits. Inside the spirits we have a front default, so we have to write like this: images is poke.spirit dot front underscore default. You can see here front underscore default. Copy this one and paste it here. So this is the image. Inside this Pokemon card.jsx we need to destructure first. So the first one is key, second one is name, and the third one is image. Okay, so I just pass this key as a key. You can see the class name is Pokemon card. Inside this div, we have a image tag img src, and here inside this src I need to pass this image. Net text also image. Class name is Pokemon image, and below this image we have to display the Pokemon name. So for that we need to create this s3 tag, and inside this tag we have to write this name. So save it and check it. Nothing is coming here. Okay, so now we'll check. So I just forgot to write this return keyword here. Save it and check it. Now you can see we have this image and we have this text. You can see here the first letter is, you can see the Pokemon name, first letter is small one, so I need to change it into the capital one. Okay, so for that I have to write after this name dot caret and pass it to 0. So it will take the first letter and change it to uppercase letter. So for that I need to write 2 uppercase plus then name dot slice. Inside this I need to pass 1. Okay, so now save it and check it. You can see the first letter is capital letter. Okay, so this is fine. We need to target the CSS. For that you can see here, first we have this box. So for that I need to target this box class. So here you can see we have to close this other window first, this F also. So we need to create a CSS file for this Pokemon list component. So the file name is Pokemon list.css. Okay, now we need to import it from here. Import dot slash Pokemon list.css. So go to this Pokemon list.css and start writing our CSS. So we need to target this box class. You can see here the first class name is box class. So width is 100%, height is auto, margin top is 20 pixel, the margin bottom is 10%. We need to target this Pokemon list class. So for that I have to write dot Pokemon list, display flex, flex ref is ref, justify content center, and padding is 20 pixel. Save it and check it. You can see this all card is coming horizontally. Okay, so this is not looking good. We need to fix it out. Okay, so for that we need to go to this Pokemon card component. Here we have to import this Pokemon cards.css. Import dot slash Pokemon card.css. Now go to this Pokemon card.css. We need to target this Pokemon desk card class. Okay, so here I have to write display flex, flex direction column, align item center, border radius 12 pixel, box shadow 0, 8 pixel, 16 pixel, RGBA 0, 0,0,0,2. Padding is 15 pixel and margin also 15 pixel. Background color is has F1 5BB5. Width is 100%. Max width is 230 pixel. Border 2 pixel solid. Has E0, E0, E0. Save it and check it. Okay, so the border is not coming just because of we need to change the background as well. Okay, so for that we have to go to this app.css file. You can see this app.css. We have to remove this entire code and we have to start writing body. Margin is 0, padding also 0, font family, sans serif. The background color is, so we need to write background. So we need to put linear gradient here. Linear gradient 135 degree and the color is has A2, C2, E2 and another one is has F6, D3, E1 and the color is white color. And save it and check it. You can see this looks fine. Okay, now the border also coming here. So just close this one and go to this Pokemon card.css and instead of this 2 pixel border we need to put 3 pixel. So now this looks fine. So if I check in the small screen, this looks great. You can see this looks great. Okay, now we will write the hover effect here. So for that I have to write dot Pokemon card hover. It is a pseudo class, and inside this we need to write transform scale 1.5, and the box shadow is 0, 12 pixel, 24 pixel, RGBA 0,0,0,0.3, and the cursor is pointer. Background color is, we need to write as F72585. So we need to write the transition here. So for that I need to write transition transform 0.3 second, comma box shadow. We need to copy this one and paste it here. This is also 0.3 second. Save it and check it. Now this looks good. Silky smooth transition here you can see. If I hover this card, the hover effect is looking good. Fine, cool. Okay, next we will target this Pokemon image. I need to go to this Pokemon card.css and start writing this Pokemon image class. Okay, dot Pokemon image, width is 100 pixel, height also 100 pixel, object fit, content, margin bottom 10 pixel, border radius is 50%, and the background color is white color. Save it and check it. You can see this looks fine. The image also looking good. Okay, now we need to target this Pokemon name. So for that you can see here Pokemon card, we have this H3 tag. So for that I need to write here H3, and margin is 0, color is white color, and the font size is 1 rem. Save it and check it. So this looks fine. Okay, so now the problem is, you can see all the card is coming here. We are not displaying this all card. We need to display specific card. After that we are putting the load more button. So for that again we need to go to this Pokemon list component, and inside this Pokemon list component create a button here in the below one. For that I need to create a button, and the button name is load more. We need to start writing its structure. Class name is load more button. We need to start writing the CSS for this load more button. Close this one and close this CSS as well. And inside this Pokemon list.css we are start writing the load more button CSS. Display block, margin 20 from top and right, left and right is auto. Padding 10 pixel from top and bottom and 20 pixel from left and right. Font size is 16 pixel. Background color 2585. Color is white color. Border is none. Border radius is 8 pixel. Cursor is pointer. Margin bottom 20 pixel. Save it and check it. So now you can see here. Okay, so the load more button is not working. Let me check. Okay, I haven't saved this class. Save it and check it. Now you can see in the below, you can see this load more button is there. Okay, so now we have to go to this top, and here we need to start writing our load more functionality. So for that, first I need to remove this question mark limit from this API URL, and then I need to create a state, and the state name is page size, set page size, use state, and by default it is 10. Okay, next we need to create another state variable for the URL, and the state variable name is next URL, comma set next URL, use state, and by default we need to put this API URL here. So for that I need to write this template literal here, and inside this we need to write API URL. Then I need to write this question mark limit. This is not equal to 100. We need to pass the dynamic page size here. So for that I need to write page size. Okay, maybe here spelling mistake. Okay, now it is looking good. Okay, now close this one. You can see here the next URL. Okay, and the another one is we need to create a loading. So for that we need to write so loading set loading use state, and by default it is false. We have to write our load more functionality. For that we need to write on click event here. On click we need to call a function, and the function name is handle load more. Okay, now we have to create this function in the top. So here you can see after this use effect const handle load more, it is an arrow function, and inside this we need to set the page size previous state, or we can write like previous size. You can write any name. I just write like a previous size. So previous size plus 15. First time it is 10. After that we need to add 15. 10 plus 15 is 25. You can see here we need to call this fetch Pokemon function here. Okay, so instead of this fetch Pokemon, you can see we are calling this fetch Pokemon inside this use effect. You can see, and here we are directly passing this API URL. Instead of this, what we have to do, go to this fetch Pokemon. Inside this we need to pass this API URL. So I have to write this API URL, and here we need to write limit equal to page size. So now this is our API URL. Okay, so now we need to get it from here. So we need to write URL, or instead of this API URL we need to call this URL. So instead of this empty dependency we need to pass this page size here. Save it and check it. Now you can see. So again I need to reload this window. If I click here, you can see nice, this looks bit nice. If I click this load more, yeah, again this is the data is loading here. If I click this load more, again the data is loading here. So this looks fine. Okay, great. So the next step is we need to create our search functionality here. So if I search anything, for example if I search Pikachu, so the Pikachu card is coming here. Okay, so for that I have to write after this box we need to create a input box here. So input, and the type is text. We need to create a state variable here. Okay, so the state variable name is search query. Const search query comma set search query use state. By default it is a empty string. This text box here, inside this we need to write value, and we need to pass search query here, and on change event, in this event we need to write e such that set search query. We need to update this state here. So I have to write e dot target dot value. Save it and check it in the browser first. So you can see here this is. So we can able to write as well. Okay. So now we need to fix this one. So for that we need to create a placeholder here. Placeholder is search Pokemon. Go to this box class here again. Here you can see in the box class Pokemon list.css we need to write the input as well. So dot box input. So the width is 300, padding is 12 pixel, border radius is 20 pixel, and the border is none, and outline also none. Save it and check it in the browser. You can see this looks fine, but I need to take this input box to the middle. So for that, go to this box class, and here I have to write text align center. So this looks fine. So now if I type anything here, let's suppose Pikachu. So the Pikachu card is displayed in the top. Okay, so I have to write the search functionality. Okay, so for that I need to write in the Pokemon list.jsx, below this handle more function, I have to create a constant variable here. Okay, so before that I need to write Pokemon. You can see here all the data is coming here, all the API data is coming here, and set it inside this Pokemon state. Okay, so that's why I'm writing Pokemon dot filter. I need to filter it from this Pokemon state. Okay, so I have to write Poke, and inside that I have to write Poke.name dot to lowercase case dot include. I have to check whether that letter is there inside this state or not. Okay, includes, and inside this we have to search this search query. So you can see here we have this value search query. Okay, so I have to search it here, search query dot to lowercase. Okay, save it. Okay, so whatever data is coming here, this Pokemon dot filter is returning an array. So this Pokemon dot filter is returning an array. So for that I need to write const filter Pokemon equal to this one. So you can see here, copy this filter Pokemon, and instead of this Pokemon I need to paste this filter Pokemon here. Now save it and check it. This includes is not a function. Okay, so let's check this includes. includes includes. Okay, save it and check it. If I search it for Squirtle, SQ, you can see this is coming. If I remove it from here, if I remove this Q, S, now the data is loaded. Okay, so our search functionality also working fine. If I click this load more, you can see the data is coming here. If I click this load more again, you can see we have this Pikachu here. So in the top, if I search it for Pikachu, so you can see the Pikachu data is coming here. Okay, so this looks fine. This is all about this video. If you really found this video helpful, then hit this like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Code with Surya Official. Till then, keep smiling and happy coding. See you in the next video.